Welcome to this episode where I'm sharing the entire story about the neurosomatic release portal that I've been inside with a practitioner, Ronnie Landis. I am so excited to share Ronnie's work because as soon as I connected with this man, I instantly knew that he's one of the most embodied people I've ever met. I could instantly feel that he has gone to the depths, he has embodied his work, and he is magical AF. And I am here to support his mission in any way that I can by sharing my story, by inviting you into his somatic dojo happening on January 24th and 25th, and being of support in any way that I can, because I'm the type of person that loves shouting other people out, especially when it's so profound as the work that he does is. So it all started with a Facebook post. I was on Facebook one day scrolling through, and I saw a post that Ronnie made about the nervous system and wealth. And that's a huge topic of mine. And so as I'm reading through this post, I was like, yes, 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 yes. My sacral authority in human design started rising. I was like, I need a session with this guy. And then a week or so later, this was the beginning of December, I get an invite on Partyful to a somatic dojo. And guess who the facilitator was? Ronnie Landis. I was like, oh my God, it's a sign from the universe. Of course I'm going to buy my ticket. I didn't really know what to expect when I showed up that day. And I was one of the first people. And I walk up to him and I tell him the story I just told you. I was like, oh, I'm so excited about this. And this is really when I experienced him in person. I was like, whoa, like he's so embodied, so masculine, holds a beautiful container. And I'm not going to get into the details because this container was so sacred. It was like a plant medicine ceremony without plant medicine. And so I'll share my experience with it and kind of touch on the other people's experiences. It's very intimate work that he does, and it's very individualized. So I'm going to pause myself before I get into this story. This is my story. This is my experience. I'm sharing his dojo with people and I'm inviting people in because of the potency of this work. And I asked him, I know you've done over 600 sessions. Like, what are the common threads that people experience? And he was like, Lindsay, I can't tell you that because everyone is so unique. Everyone's nervous system is so unique. So what I experienced may not be what you experienced, but my intention with sharing this is that it gives your body something to respond to. It brings awareness to something that you may not have known existed, just like me. And so when the dojo started, one of the things that downloaded into my brain that Ronnie said at the beginning was when you have trauma or trapped emotions or whatever that's in your body, it gets calcified in your body like crystals. That image has never left my brain because I'm envisioning all these clusters of crystals that when Ronnie does his work, they're bursting into little fairy dust and then going back into consciousness. And that's just how my brain works. So he sets up the container, we open things up, and essentially he works on every single person, and the rest of the group is holding space. And it was so magical. And the common thread with all of the mini sessions that Ronnie did was there's pain involved. When you have a calcified crystal in your body and there's a trigger point that's releasing it, it doesn't really feel good. That's just the truth of the matter. And it's like intense pain for like 10 to 15 seconds, and then instantly spaciousness, openness, the crystals exploding into the dust. And so it's pain and then equal pleasure. And here's the thing, pain and pleasure have the same receptors in the brain. This is something I've been playing around with forever. If I stub my toe, instead of getting mad, instead of being like, oh my God, it hurts, I'm like, ooh, what is this sensation? Ooh, my body is doing its work. My body's healing itself. Ooh. And the more I just allow the sensation to arise without putting anything to it, the easier it gets and the faster it passes. So I've already been kind of playing with pain and pleasure. It is a very interesting thing when you go into the depths of it, which I'll explain a little bit more later. So everyone experiences pain. That's just part of the process with somatic work. You got to feel it to heal it. And then right after, the bliss. And there was a lot of emotional releases as well. So with the work that Ronnie does, it facilitates rotates, if there's a trapped emotion in your shoulder and he releases it, the emotion is going to come through your body. And emotions only last for like 90 seconds and then they go away. If they last for more than 90 seconds, there's generally a story attached to it. So that was a common thread with everyone. Everyone had a very unique process that they went through, and it was beautiful. And it was just really cool because these people were absolutely amazing. And it felt kind of like a sleepover, kind of like an ayahuasca experience. And we're laughing. And during my session, I was like the third person that went. And I'm like, you know what? I'm here for it all. I'm open. I have no expectations. I am a very private person. History about me, if you are new here, I have been on a personal development healing awakening journey since 2017, which I recently found out was 1 year. For the past 8+ years, I've been diving to the depths of my soul. I've read hundreds of books, I've listened to countless hours of podcasts, I've invested at least 70K over the past, probably 100K over the past 8+ years that I've been doing this, in sessions and modalities and coaching containers and retreats. And I sat with plant medicine, ayahuasca 7 weekends. I probably have 150+ hours on plant medicine between mushrooms and ayahuasca and then beyond. And so I've been on a very deep search, and I have been looking for what Ronnie does for years. And as soon as I got on the floor, I was like, okay, I'm ready to have an emotional release. I'm ready to be witnessed in front of all of these people that I don't really know. I'm here for whatever. And he started off with a rotator cuff experience, and I'm just kind of laughing through it, and everyone else is kind of talking, and it was very chill for me. And then he releases my jaw, and it was definitely painful with the jaw area. And so I made some noises, but no emotions came through, and it was amazing. And I instantly felt the spaciousness. I instantly felt the openness. And the other cool thing about this, and the reason I'm telling you, is because if you're in Austin or willing to fly to Austin for the somatic dojo that Ronnie's doing on January 24th and 25th, this is part of it. I was feeling pain in my shoulder when the girl before me was going and he was working on her shoulder. Other people were experiencing, one girl was releasing a lot of grief and another girl was experiencing the grief. And so it's a really cool thing when all of our nervous systems are tuned in together. And this is exactly what happens in plant medicine ceremonies. And so it's so freaking cool. So as soon as this was done, I went up to Ronnie. I was like, I need to work with you. Like, you have what I want. You have what I've been looking for years. I didn't know that this is what I was looking for. And a backstory on that, I don't even know when it was. I was still with my ex at the time. So it was probably 2020, 2021. I read Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he talks about the body is a subconscious mind. I always thought the subconscious mind was the brain, but your body, your nervous system is creating your life, and it's based on the thoughts that you think, but the feelings that you feel in the nervous system. And I've been talking about the nervous system for years. I've known it was the key. I know the body is the key. Hello, I'm a human design mentor. I literally support people in becoming the passenger princess in their body, because I believe that your body is like a self-driving Ferrari. It knows exactly what is meant for you. It knows exactly what your highest good is. It knows exactly how to get you there. But because of conditioning in society and how you grew up, you're probably sitting in the passenger seat trying to take over the wheel of the self-driving vehicle that you live in. So my whole entire body of work is about human design and nervous system regulation. And I've been saying it for years, nervous system regulation is the key. But here's what I have found. I've been regulating my nervous system like it's my full-time job for years. I have consistent practices that I do every day. I shake, I allow my emotions to move through me. It's gotten to the point where I just let my body do whatever the fuck it wants to do, even if my brain is screaming. And so I'm not consciously, oh, I got to do an ice bath. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. But because of the years of work that I've been focusing on my nervous system, it's just become a part of my life. But still, things aren't shifty. And I've been especially this year. If you want to learn about my Dragon Awakening year, go to the past episode, because it's been rough. It's been rough for a lot of us. But I'm like, I know the laws of the universe. I know that I'm abundant as fuck. I know that everything is happening for me. I know that I'm the creator of my life. I know. But is nothing changing outside of me. It's the fucking body. This is the final puzzle piece that clicked in for me. And oh my God, I'm so grateful. So anyways, back to the story. I go to talk to Roddy and I'm like, I need to work with you. So we connected. And then the next day, he sent me a message and he shared his packages. I haven't invested in anyone in years, and I've never invested in this high of a package with one person. I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars into people, but this has been the highest investment. I've never worked with a man before. I've been wanting to work with a man. And so there were so many things going into it. Hit pay now. And instantly, I was transported to the version of me after this container. And I instantly dialed into her. I instantly knew that it was a hell fucking yes. I instantly knew that my life was already transforming. I instantly entered the portal. And I'm still in it, by the way. Invested, sent him a note, invoice paid. He reaches out. He's like, oh, well, I have sessions available this week. On the night before, I opened a portal like I do with everything, especially things like this. And it was a 12/12 portal, and it was a death ceremony. So I call this a Phoenix Rising ceremony, but you have to die in order to be reborn. One of the downloads that I got this year at the beginning of the year was your new life will cost you your old one. And that has been very apparent this year. I've let go of friends left and right that I thought would be in my wedding party. I have shifted identities. I've let go of things that like I never thought I would let go of. And so it is so true. What you want, a lot of what you are in now can't go with you to what you want. And that's been a big focus this year astrologically and with the Chinese zodiac and all of that. So death ceremony. I opened this portal. I let my parts go. As I pricked my finger and I was dropping the blood on the decaying flowers, I was visualizing all the old parts of me just jumping out of me and into consciousness. And they were like, poof, into fairy dust and going back to source. I'm setting the stage. I'm treating this like an ayahuasca portal. And I show up to his house the next day and I am just like an energizer bunny. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't breathe. My heart is racing. I was like, he's like, how's it going? I was like, I'm terrified and exhilarated and excited all at once. And from the moment I stepped into his place, I felt so safe. I felt so supported. I felt so held. And I had no idea what I was entering into. I mean, I got a teeny tiny sliver of an experience at the dojo I went to, but I really didn't know what to expect. So we talk over the details, then he puts me into a meditative state, and then we go on his table and he's got his beautiful process. And he is so gifted with his hands, and he is so gifted with knowing exactly the amount of pressure you need, knowing exactly what to focus on in your body. And he's got his whole process that he does. And so we start off with the jaw release first. And my intention with this whole container was to experience the totality of life, which is equally death and rebirth, pain and pleasure, the polarity, and feeling all of the sensations in my body. I don't know how long those things were in me, but I wanted to feel them as they were leaving and feeling the spaciousness. So he goes through and he does points in my head, and then he does points in my jaw. And the last one in the jaw was hard. So it was like he holds points and then he tells you what to do, like opening your mouth and whatever. And then you just follow along. And the last little bit of pain is like, and then he pushes it through immediately. Pain, intense pain for like 10 to 15 seconds. Immediately after he lets go, it's like, it's so hard to describe because it's like spaciousness and tingling. And it was like I was so tuned into my body that I could feel the energy dissipating. I could feel the little crystals exploding and going back into consciousness. And it was just such a wild experience. I was not in my head at all. And I got into this at the perfect time because I don't know if I could have done that. I don't know if I could have fully surrendered in the presence of a stranger and a masculine being, which I've never really trusted a man like that, probably since I was a kid. And so it was a very deep, deep, deep feeling. There's so much masculine healing just by going into that container. And so it was just like, he's so good at what he does, and he'll tune in. So afterwards he gives you plenty of time to come back to the breath and the body. And then he goes again. So he did my rotator cuffs, he did my throat and my collarbones and my chest, and he did my arms. It was so intense and amazing and magical and wild, and the sensations, and I'm sweating and I'm laughing and I was waiting for emotions, but no emotions came through. It was just like pain, release, come back to homeostasis, do it again, do it again. Then he moved into my stomach. I had no idea he was going to do my stomach. And my stomach has been my problem area for my whole entire life. I have hated my stomach the majority of my life. I've always had a closed belly button. Even when I was the skinniest I've ever been, I always carried fat there. It's been a point of focus for years, especially on my awakening journey. And I cannot tell you how many mushroom journeys, how many plant medicine journeys where I'm looking at my stomach and I'm like, what do I need to do to let you go? And so he goes in and he basically does 4 points. And so he's like putting his fingers into my stomach on the specific point and holding for 10 seconds and then kind of going in a little bit deeper. And I'm still a little tender from it. And it was very intense. It hurt like fucking hell. That one was probably that day. That was probably the worst, quote unquote, but also the best, because if you've never experienced the amount of pleasure unless you've experienced equally the amount of pain. I fully believe that now. Fully believe that. So he goes through, and as he's releasing, he does 4 points. As he's releasing, I'm starting to shake. I'm sweating. I'm starting to shake. I feel massive energy just whoom, 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 flowing through my hands. It was like electricity moving through me. And it was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then he's like, okay, you ready for the next sequence? And I was like, what? And so he goes back there and he goes with his elbow. I don't know if they were the same points or not, but damn, it was an initiation. I'll just tell you that. And afterwards, I'm just like vibrating and shaking and just discharging energy. He's like, yeah, you got a lot of trapped energy here. I'm like, I know. And so he goes and I'm just shaking, shaking, shaking. And I'm just letting it move through me. And I was probably shaking for like 15 minutes. He goes and he grabs a blanket and he puts it over me and he's like, just lay here until you're ready. And so I laid there for a while. I was like, whoa, that was the coolest thing I've ever done. And I come out of the room, I'm just like in a daze. I'm like, whoa, whoa. And he's like, yeah, just go home, eat some nourishing food, chill out. And so I'm sore as fuck. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's like sore. And also I could tell that the chronic pain in my shoulder was gone, that the weight has been lifted. And so I'm going home and I'm just like crying tears of joy on the way home because I could feel the weight lifted. I could feel the shift, especially with my stomach. My God, I was like, oh, that's gonna be big. That's gonna be big. And so I get home, I get on my vibration plate, I jump on my trampoline, I eat nourishing food, I go to sleep, I sleep in, and it's now the 12/12 portal. So I'm listening to my 12/12 portal activations, and I had a call that was canceled. And so I was just like dialing in, getting ready for the next session. So I show up at his house and it felt like ayahuasca. If you've ever sat with ayahuasca, the first night you sit, you're like, oh my God, like I kind of know I have an idea of what I might be experiencing, but I don't really know. And then the next night you go up and you're like, there's a little bit of apprehension there. There's a little bit of like, we're going to do this again. Okay, let's fucking go. And then down the hatch with the ayahuasca. And that's kind of how I felt. And I told him, feels like an initiation. And I 1000% trust you to go as deep as you feel my body can handle. And I trust you, but more importantly, I trust your body. And by the way, he's a 6-2 manifesting generator and human design sacral authority. And I could just feel the depths of his deconditioning that he has done. And like I said, I have never trusted a man like I've trusted this man. And I've only known him for less than a month. I've only known of him for less than a month. And so anyways, we go through the process again, get into a meditative state, go on the table. And The second day was it was different because I was already used to the process. So it was like, okay, cool, intense pain, moving, breathing, sounding. I was emitting a lot of dragon sounds and and just like moving the energy through my body and working with the pain. And so it was like intense pain for 10, 15 seconds, and then the relief. And then I would take a really big breath and then just feel all of the sensations that were moving through the body. So it felt quicker. Felt like, okay, I come back to homeostasis faster. And he did my hips, he did my quads, he did my calves, my feet, and then flipped over onto my back and he did my back. And I've had this knot in my shoulder for years, since 2014, or maybe even longer. And no one has been able to get it out. And he got in there with his elbow and he got it out. And I was just like, oh, no one's ever been able to do that. That's what I've been wanting for years. And so it's just like, fuck, it was such a fucking magical experience. And I, at the end, he was like, okay, it's time to land the plane now. And so you just come back into a regulated state and you lay there for as long as you need. And I was laying there and I envisioned all of my dragons around me and all my guides around me and my ancestors, and they were all cheering me on. And I got emotional and I started crying. I was like, I did it. Like, this was a really deep initiation. And I knew, like, in so many ways, between the investment and the situation that I'm in, and just like blind fucking trust, not only in God and myself, but in this man. And I just started crying. I was like, I did it. And I don't know if it was then or a different time, but my guides were like, you passed level 1, Lindsay. You have anchored in sacred union within, and you're at level 2 now. And now it's just a matter of time before you enter into the next playground. But I feel like I'm done and complete with the G fucking healing. Obviously, life is a spiral, but it felt really good. And I came out of the room and he's like, how you're feeling? I was like, I feel great. And he said, treat yourself like you just had surgery. You just had somatic surgery and it was very intense. So just light walking, light yoga, just take care of your body and you do you. And so then I went into recovery. The interesting thing was I did this. The first session was on day 28 and the second session was on day 29 of my cycle. And I started bleeding right after I got out of that session. And it was the most cleanest bleed I have ever had. And so it was just like, because I'm paying attention to the changes, obviously. I'm like, oh shit, like what's going to happen? What's going to be different? So the night, oh, I forgot to mention the night before, I was able to sleep on my back for the first time in years. Normally I have to roll over to my side, but I couldn't really do that because my stomach hurt so bad. And so I'm just noticing the spaciousness. I'm noticing that here's the biggest thing. So now it is December 22nd. So it's what, 10 days since the last session. I was sore. I'm still a little sore in some spots. My body is still moving through it. But I've been able to walk. I've been able to do everything that I normally do. And the weight, that's the biggest thing. I've lost like 5 pounds since then. Haven't changed anything. I did do a couple of 36 and 48-hour fasts to continue moving things through my body, but it's the weight. Like, I don't even really know how to explain it because it felt like I was a foreigner in my body for years, especially this year. And it felt like my body I would wake up so heavy and I would sit like this and I wouldn't be able to fully sit upright because my shoulders were hunched forward and my neck hurt all the time. And there was just constant fucking pain. And it just felt like just all of the time. And I couldn't move. And it's so different. I feel so spacious. Like there's space. And I always talk about if you don't have what you want, it's probably because you can't hold it in your physical body. And I talk about this with shame and emotions. If you got shame and emotions and all this shit in your body and you're full, how can anything else come in? But this is the literal physical body. And so there's so much space because of all of the energy and all of the stagnancy that was removed. And the biggest thing is my stomach, because it was so sore. I haven't been able to contract my stomach. So I realized I've been living in a body with a contracted stomach for as long as I can remember, because I would always try to suck in my stomach to look skinnier. I can't even do that anymore. Like, I am moving through the world with a soft stomach, and it is the most miraculous thing. I'm noticing too. So that weekend, I always honor my winter and my flow, and so I was already planning on just being on the couch, and I am just resting and relaxing. And I think the next day or the following day, I woke up and I was like, I had a crick in my neck because I slept on the wrong pillow, and I was like, oh my god, it's not working. I'm just gonna go straight back into the old body. And I'm having all these mental loops, but it was like they didn't have an anchor anymore in my body. So the loops came up and I felt them, but then there wasn't anything for it to anchor into. And so I've been having all, it's like the only way I can describe it is like this, the thought or the loop or the pattern mentally will come up and the chatter will get loud, but then it's just like I witness it and then it goes away. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's cool, because I feel like intuitively that it doesn't have anything to anchor into in my body. And so that's been different. I have my masculine is kicked on in a way that it has never kicked on before. I have taken so much in the last 10 days. I've taken massive action with my business. I have put myself out there. I have emailed people. I've DM'd people. I've reached out to people. I have asked for favors. I have just been doing the work. And the downloads and the creation, it's like, oh, it's dropping in. It feels, it's like the time it takes from ideation to dropping into my body to going, I feel like has sped up. And it's just so wild. And I've just been having these all of these signs and synchronicities, and waking up on my own when I would sleep till like 10, 11, a lot of days, because I just I'd wake up and then I didn't have the energy to get out of bed. And so I'm waking up on my own, no alarm. I'm getting out of bed. I have more energy. My eating has shifted, like so much has shifted. And I still have 2 sessions left. So I want to start wrapping this up, because this has been the most profound, miraculous, satisfying experience that I've ever had in my life. And I'm a firm believer that everyone needs this. Not everyone's going to want to do this, but I feel like, so I was at a Christmas party the other day, and pretty much all of the women were talking about how you have to feel it in order to heal it. And, I'd rather feel the pain to get to the pleasure. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, get this shit out of my body. I will feel whatever I need to feel to be done with it and to close that loop. And so this isn't for everyone, but if you're still listening to this and you're like, I want to experience Ronnie's work, well, first of all, I'm going to link him in the show notes, obviously, but he also has a somatic dojo 2-day immersion in January 24th and 25th. And I highly recommend going. If you're in Austin, go. If you're not in Austin, fly here. Like, this is going to be, the dojo that I went to was a minuscule, like, so small compared to what a 2-day immersion is going to be. And so I'm going to be there. I was like, I'm a hell freaking yes. And I am so excited to share him with you, because his medicine is so potent. And you know that I'm always listen to your body, listen to your authority in human design to know if it's right for you. And he's keeping this very sacred. So I'm not going to publicly share the link with you, but if you are like, yes, I need details, DM him on Instagram for the link and let him know I sent you. And then that's option number 1. Option number 2, if you're a woman, I have created my own retreat around Ronnie's dojo. So I'm bringing the feminine to this. The next episode is going to go over all of the details for the Phoenix Rising Year of the Empress retreat. So it's a 5-day retreat plus a year-long embodiment container. So this is for the whole year of 2026. You're going to start it off with a dojo with Ronnie and a retreat with me. And then for the rest of the year, I will hold you 2026 is going to be a potent year. And it is a beautiful thing to be held through the process. And all year long in the Empress Sanctuary, we are going through the 5 phase path of the Empress together. And this is my awakening journey that I'm leading you down this road. And I realized the other day, it's a spiral. I've been down this path many, many, many times. So every time I do this, I learn something new. It's not just a one-time journey. It's something you can go through over and over and over. And I'm so excited to be live with my people every single week and going on this journey together. So that's how you will be held if you decide that you are one of the 8 women who are going to join the Phoenix Rising portal. And so I also am not sharing these details publicly. I really love how Ronnie operates his business and keeps it sacred and frequency based and not traditional selling and promoting and marketing. And so if you are resonating with my story about how I have experienced Ronnie's work, go to the dojo, go reach out to him, go get a private session with him. He will change your life. And then if you want to dive deep with me, if you want to be held for a year, DM me to learn about the Phoenix Rising portal and the 5-day retreat, plus the year-long container. And I would love to support you with this. So head to the next episode. That's where I'm going to share all of the details and give you more to respond to as far as what that process will be like. But essentially, think of it as the feminine holding space for the work that we will do as a group inside of the dojo with Ronnie. And so thank you for listening to this story. Take what resonates, leave the rest. If you have any questions about my experience, DM me, connect with Ronnie, but ultimately follow your body. Here's what I suggest that you do for both the Somatic Dojo, working with Ronnie, and for the Phoenix Rising Retreat. Reach out to us, get the details, and as you're scrolling through the details, pay attention to your body. If you're an emotional authority and it feels like a big decision for you, wait, scroll through, read it in the morning, read it in the afternoon, read it the next day, and you're looking for clarity. Now, you may never have 100% clarity that it's right for you, but 70 to 80%, you know that that's for you. If you're a sacral authority, if you got 100% energy, it's for you. If you're a splenic authority and you know it's for you, those are the 2 that can make decisions like that. And then if you have the other authorities, go to the show notes. I have a whole masterclass on how to use your authority to make decisions and get out of your freaking brain and make decisions that your body wants to do, not what your ego or your brain wants to do. That's the biggest thing with human design, is getting out of the head and into the body. And so, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for listening to this story. And I'm excited to see you at the dojo. I'm excited to see you at the Phoenix Rising Retreat. And I love you so much, and stay tuned for next time.